Next, we're going to start the legs. First, we're going to split the body in half. So I'm finding the front middle of the figure between 2 stitches on round 22, and I've marked that point with the stitch marker. And from that point that I marked, I'm counting 9 stitches to find the middle point in the back. So I've done one side, and now I'm going to count 9 from the opposite side. So both of my thumbs met at that point, and I'm going to take another stitch marker to mark the back middle. So for reference, the 2 orange stitch markers are the front and back, and the green one is for where we start the round. So I'll insert my crochet hook back into the loop, and to begin the left leg, we're going to single crochet in each stitch around until we get to that back middle point. So I've done the first single crochet, and I'm inserting my stitch marker to mark that stitch, and we're going to single crochet until we reach that first stitch marker. I've single crocheted up to that stitch marker in the back, and I'm going to remove that stitch marker and work a single crochet inside of that stitch. Then I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to turn my work all the way to the front, and we're going to single crochet into the stitch to the left of that stitch marker in the front. So the chain should run across the middle like this to create the separation between the legs. So the single crochet I just made is to the left of that stitch marker, so not directly in that stitch but to the left of it. And now we're going to single crochet until the end of the round. At the end of the round, you should have 12 stitches, including the chain that we made. And to begin round 24, we're going to single crochet in each stitch around until we get to that chain 3. When you get to the chain 3, we're going to work 3 single crochets. So I'll work a single crochet in that first chain, a single crochet in the second chain, and a single crochet in the third chain. And then we'll single crochet in each stitch until the end of the round. At the end of the round, you should have 12 stitches, and to begin rounds 25 to 27, we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So this is the start of round 25. And we're going to single crochet for rounds 25, 26, and round 27. I'm at the end of round 27, and before I start round 28, we're going to switch to the black yarn. But before I do that, I'm going to find the point between 2 stitches in round 27 that's in the front middle. So this is the front middle, and we're going to count 2 stitches before that point. In that point, I'm going to insert another stitch marker right there. And for this yarn color change, I'm first going to fasten off the gray yarn that we worked with. So we can remove the stitch marker. And in that stitch, I'm going to slip stitch with the gray yarn. And I'm going to fasten off. So snip off the yarn and pull that yarn through to tighten. To make the foot, I'm going to insert my crochet hook back into the stitch where I fastened off. And I'm going to loop that yarn into that stitch. And I'll chain 1 to attach the black yarn. And with that gray strand of yarn, I'm going to tie a knot to secure this in place. And we can tuck that into the body. To start round 28, we're going to work a single crochet in the back loops only in each stitch. To find the back loop, we'll look for the top of that V and insert our crochet hook into the back loop only. And we're going to work a single crochet in the back loops only until we reach that stitch marker that we just marked. And when we reach that stitch marker, we're going to work a 3 double crochet bob in each of the next 4 stitches. So first remove the stitch marker, and to work that bob, we're going to start by working a double crochet in that next stitch, picking up both loops. We'll yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and we'll yarn over, insert back into that same stitch, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, insert one more time into that same stitch and pull through 2 loops. So you should have a total of 4 loops on your hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And we'll repeat the same thing in the next stitch. So we'll yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert the crochet hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. And we'll work this bobble stitch in the next 2 stitches. Yarn over, insert the crochet hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert crochet hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all the loops on the hook. And we'll repeat this one more time. And after making 4 bobs, we're going to single crochet in each stitch until the end of the round. So I finished round 28, and this should be the beginning of round 29. And to start round 29, we're going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. At the end of round 29, you should have 12 stitches. And to begin round 30, we're going to single crochet 2 together. So I'm inserting my crochet hook into that first stitch and inserting into the next one, and yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And I'm inserting my stitch marker back in that stitch and working a single crochet 2 together all the way around. At the end of the round, we'll remove the stitch marker and slip stitch into the first stitch. Then we'll chain 1 to fasten off. And you want to leave a pretty long tail at the end that we can use to sew the foot closed. At this point, you can go ahead and stuff the left leg with fiberfill. To begin making the right leg, we're going to join in the dark gray yarn at the back of the body, 3 stitches from the left leg. So we can count 1, 2, 3, and we'll insert our crochet hook into that 3rd stitch. Take your gray yarn and loop it onto the hook. Then we'll pull that through and pull on the longer strand to tighten the loop. Then we'll chain 1 and we can begin round 23. To start round 23, we're going to single crochet all the way around until we get to the front middle of the figure. So I'm tucking in that gray tail of yarn, and we'll single crochet up to the orange stitch marker in the front. And don't forget to mark with your stitch marker the first stitch of the round. I've single crocheted up to the stitch marker, and in this next stitch we'll remove the stitch marker and work a single crochet followed by a chain 3. And just like we did with the left leg, we're going to turn our work over and single crochet into the middle stitch on the back side. And then we'll single crochet in each stitch until the end of the round. At the end of the round, we'll remove the stitch marker and single crochet into that first stitch to begin round 24. And for round 24, we're going to do the same pattern that we followed on the left leg and single crochet in each stitch all the way around. When you reach the chain 3, you can try your best to single crochet in each chain. I did struggle with this part because it was a little hard to get the crochet hook into that middle chain 3 since the other leg was blocking it, but you can try your best to get that in there and work a single crochet until the end of the round. To start rounds 25 to 27, we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So you can repeat the pattern that we did for the left leg and do a single crochet for the next 3 rounds. I'm coming up at the end of round 27 and I did run out of the dark gray yarn, so I had to use some of the medium gray to finish off the leg. So once you finish round 27, we can snip off the gray yarn and fasten off. And we can begin the foot for the right leg. So I'm going to take the black yarn and insert my crochet hook into the first stitch of the round. And I'm going to loop the black yarn onto my crochet hook and pull that through. Then we'll chain 1. And to secure the yarn in place, I'm going to tie a knot with the gray strand of yarn. And before I begin round 28, I'm going to insert my stitch marker to mark that first stitch. And then I'll find the front middle of the work and count back 2 stitches. I'll insert another stitch marker at that point. And we're basically going to repeat the same pattern for the left foot for round 28, 29, and 30. So to begin round 28, we're going to work a single crochet in the back loops only. And once we get to the mark stitch, we're going to work a bob stitch in the next 4 stitches. To do the bob stitch, we're going to yarn over, insert a crochet hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert the hook in the same stitch, pull through 2, yarn over, insert one more time in the same stitch, pull through 2, and then we'll yarn over, pull through all 4 loops on the hook. And we'll repeat this bob stitch in the next 3 stitches. And after finishing round 28, we can start round 29. In this round, we'll single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And lastly, for round 30, we'll work a single crochet 2 together all the way around. At the end of the round, we'll slip stitch and chain 1 to fasten off. After finishing both legs, we can stuff them with fiber fill. After stuffing the legs, I'm taking my sewing needle and that tail of yarn to fully close the hole of the foot. When you're finished, you can snip off that yarn and repeat the same process to sew the other leg closed. To sew the gap in between the legs closed, I'm taking the leftover gray yarn and inserting it into the body. And I'm whip stitching from one end to the other end to close that gap. And when you're finished sewing, you can stick your sewing needle into the back of the project and snip off the yarn. So now the body's complete and we can start to work on the arms. To begin the arms, we're going to need the peach colored yarn, the light gray or a medium gray yarn, or whatever gray that you have remaining. So I'm using this and the burgundy yarn. Starting with the pale peach yarn, we'll make a magic ring. Or if you don't like this method, then you can chain 2. Once you have your magic ring, inside of the ring, we're going to work 6 single crochets. After making 6 single crochets with the magic ring, we'll close the hole. And to begin round 2, we're going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So I've done the first stitch and I'm going to add the stitch marker and continue working a single crochet all the way around. When you reach the stitch marker, we can remove it and slip stitch into that first stitch. Then we'll chain 1 to fasten off. And after we snip it off, we're going to attach the light gray yarn to that first stitch. So we can loop the light gray yarn onto the hook, pull that through, and we'll chain 1. To begin round 3, we're going to work an increase in the first stitch, and then we're going to work a single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to repeat doing an increase followed by a single crochet in the next 2 stitches all the way around. At the end of the round, we'll slip stitch into the first stitch. If you flip the work inside out, you can start to see the arm forming. And we're going to chain 1 to fasten off. To begin round 4, we're going to change to the burgundy colored yarn. So I'm looping that onto my crochet hook and pulling that through the first stitch. Chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in each stitch all the way around. At the end of the round, we'll slip stitch in the first stitch and chain 1 to fasten off. And you can cut off all the loose ends from the previous color changes, as we'll no longer need those strands of yarn. For rounds 5 to 8, I'm going to attach the medium or light gray yarn. Chain 1, and we'll work a single crochet in each stitch for the next 4 rounds. At the end of round 8, I'm stuffing the arm with fiberfill before we close it up. To start round 9, single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Repeat this pattern all the way around. Single crochet 2 together and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. At the end of the round, chain 1 and fasten off. And be sure to leave an extra long tail for sewing. Repeat the same pattern to make a second arm. To attach the arms, we can take the tail end and thread it through the sewing needle. I'm lining up the arm like this on the side of the body. And you can insert your sewing needle through the top of the arm and weave in and out of the body to attach the arm. I'm also going through the top corner of the arm to make sure that it's secured in place. When you're finished sewing, you can poke the sewing needle out to the front and snip off the yarn. Repeat the same steps to sew the other arm. We finished Harry's body and now we can move on to make the hair. So we'll use the dark brown yarn And we're going to start by making a magic ring. To start round 1, work 6 single crochets inside the magic ring. To begin round 2, we're going to work into the first single crochet that we made and do 2 single crochets inside that stitch. So that's the first single crochet, and we'll go back in and work a second single crochet. And we're going to repeat doing an increase in each stitch all the way around. To begin round 3, we'll remove the stitch marker and work an increase in the first stitch. And in the next stitch, we're going to work a spike stitch. To make a spike stitch, we're going to insert our crochet hook in this bottom row. So not the V at the top, but the bottom of that V. So there should be a gap right here where I'm inserting my crochet hook. And we're going to pull up a loop and then yarn over, pull through 2. And the stitch right next to that will work an increase. So the pattern for this round will be a spike stitch, and I'll show you again. We'll insert a crochet hook into that gap, and right next to the spike stitch will work an increase. And you want to make sure you don't work into the spike stitch when you're working on the increase. It's very easy to go back in to that same stitch, so make sure you're working the increase and the stitch right next to it. At the end of the round, you should have 18 stitches, and to begin round 4, we're going to work an increase in the first stitch, followed by a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Repeat the pattern of an increase followed by a single crochet in the next 2 stitches all the way around. At the end of the round, you should have 24 stitches. To begin round 5, we're going to work an increase in the first stitch, followed by a spike stitch in the next stitch. So I'll insert my crochet hook into that gap right here, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then I'm going to work a single crochet, then we'll work a spike stitch, a single crochet, a spike stitch, a single crochet, a spike stitch, and then an increase, followed by a spike stitch, single crochet, spike stitch, single crochet, spike stitch, single crochet, spike stitch, increase, spike stitch, single crochet, spike stitch, single crochet, spike stitch, single crochet, and the last stitch you have should be a spike stitch. At the end of round 5, you should have 27 stitches. To begin round 6, we're going to work a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. At the end of the round, you should have 27 stitches, and to begin round 7, we're going to do a spike stitch in the first stitch. So insert your crochet hook into that gap right here, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then we'll single crochet in the next stitch. First, I'll put my stitch marker back in, and I'm working a single crochet, followed by a spike stitch in the next stitch. And we're just going to repeat doing a spike stitch followed by a single crochet 13 times. And after doing that 13 times, the last stitch should be a spike stitch. And instead of working in the rounds, we're going to switch to working in rows. So we'll chain 1, turn our work, and to begin round 8, we're going to do a single crochet in the next 27 stitches. When you reach the 27th stitch, we'll work our last single crochet, and we'll chain 1 and turn our work. To begin round 9, we're going to work a single crochet 2 together, insert your stitch marker, And we're going to work a spike stitch in the next stitch. Single crochet in the following stitch. And we're going to repeat doing a spike stitch followed by a single crochet 11 times. After doing that 11 times, we're going to work a spike stitch in the next stitch, followed by a single crochet 2 together. At the end of the row, you should have 25 stitches, and to begin the next row, we'll chain 1 and turn our work. For row 10, we're going to slip stitch in the first 2 stitches, and then we'll single crochet in the next 18 stitches. At the end of the row, you should have 20 stitches, and to begin the next row, we'll chain 1, turn our work, and for row 11, we're going to single crochet 2 together. Then we'll work a spike stitch, followed by a single crochet, and we're going to do a spike stitch and single crochet 7 times. After doing that 7 times, we'll single crochet 2 together. At the end of this row, you should have 16 stitches, and we'll chain 1 and turn our work. For row 12, we're going to single crochet in the next 16 stitches. At the end of the row, you should have 16 stitches, and we'll chain 1 and turn our work. To begin row 13, we'll single crochet 2 together, spike stitch in the next stitch, followed by a single crochet in the following stitch. And we're going to do a spike stitch followed by single crochet 6 times. After 6 times, we'll single crochet 2 together, and then chain 1 and turn our work. At the end of that row, you should have 14 stitches, and to begin the last row, row 14, we'll work a single crochet 2 together, and then work a single crochet in the next 10 stitches. Single crochet 2 together. We finished Harry's hair, and we can chain 1 and fasten off. And remember to leave an extra long tail for sewing the hair to the head. And if you turn it inside out, you can start to see these spikes at the top, and this is the part we want to show on the outside. Once you position the hair to the head, we can begin sewing it, and you want to make sure to not hide the lightning scar, so leave a little room for that. To sew the hair to the head, I am weaving in and out by inserting my sewing needle into the head and pulling the yarn through. And the nice part about sewing the hair to the head is we can weave the yarn in and out, and it will be fully hidden. So continue weaving in and out all the way around, making sure the hair is fully secured to the head. Once you're finished weaving in, we can snip off the yarn, and we're finished. Here's what the final Harry doll looks like, and I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And if you'd like to see me make other characters from the kit, then please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching!